Good morning and welcome, everyone. I'm so glad to be with you again. We have a very important subject on lifestyle this morning, so could we just stop and offer a little prayer? That would be great. Father in heaven, we pray that you would bless us as we study this important subject of lifestyle. And so we pray for your power and presence and Holy Spirit to be here with us. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, good morning, everyone. We are studying secrets to wellness, and these laws of health are simple, inexpensive, available throughout the world. But my friends, what is the last one? The key is to practice them. Now, I'm telling you, we have to be disciplined sometime to practice them, because this morning it was raining very, very hard here. And yet I took my umbrella, put my boots on even because it was very wet out there, and I did my 45-minute walk. So I have half of my steps, over 6,000 in already. So it does take discipline to practice them, but that's what we want to do. So let's just kind of share what we've gone over already. The first one was what? Water. Yes, and the importance of water on the inside and on the outside. We need water to cleanse our system inside, and we need water on the outside as well to get rid of some of the toxins, but also we can use it as hydrotherapy to actually get better if we are sick. And then we have exercise that we talked about yesterday. We talked about exercise, we talked about air, and we talked about sunshine. So we need to get that exercise. We need to be disciplined to get out there and make sure that we get at least, the recommendation is 30 minutes a day, or even 7,500 steps every day as a minimum. Now, my goal is 10,000 and even more, but so we talked a little bit about also deep breathing and expanding our lungs so that we can have good, healthy lungs. And then we talked about the benefit of sunshine. So today we're going to talk about lifestyle and what really is lifestyle and how can we have a good lifestyle and practice a good lifestyle. Well, a healthy lifestyle necessitates, first of all, my friends, good, healthy choices. So we make the choice. We choose whether we are healthy or whether we are sick. Now, I know there are some hereditary and environmental factors to take into consideration, but basically speaking, it is whether or not we make healthy choices. Or unhealthy lifestyle is the result of some poor choices in what we eat, poor choices in what we drink, poor choices in maybe our sleeping habits or whatever. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So basically speaking, a lifestyle means that we have temperance. What is temperance? What does that word mean, temperance? It means that we use wisely that which is good. You see this beautiful table that I set here. I had to make all that food with my friends too. I had some help, but we have good, healthy food there with fresh things and some fresh butternut squash from the garden and other things on this table. But temperance means to not overeat. And so it means choosing wisely what we eat and choosing wisely how much we eat. That's one aspect of temperance. Then another one is to abstain from some things. That means abstaining from everything that is harmful to the body, like harmful drugs and alcohol, tobacco, and caffeine. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about some of these harmful things and abstaining from them. You see, because Satan deceives many, many Christians into thinking that it really doesn't make any difference how we treat our bodies as long as our hearts are right with God. But God says that the laws of health are just as important as is his 10 Commandment laws. And so we have the laws of health to keep our bodies, because we don't want to violate the 10 Commandment law of thou shalt not kill. And if we have bad habits, then we can actually die sooner and kill ourselves by our lifestyle choices. And so we shall be, my friends, individually, each person by themselves, for time, for now, and for eternity, what our habits make us. So that's really what a lifestyle is. It's a life of good habits. Now, we can have bad habits that we want to break, and we may have to do that as we talk about some things today, that we may need to break some habits, or we may already have very good habits and we want to continue in those good habits so that we can actually be more healthy, live longer, and even happier. So habits are something that we develop as we keep practicing them. In fact, I have a habit of going out and walking in the morning, and therefore, even though it was raining very hard this morning, my habit just said, get out there, put those walking boots on this today and get out there and do some walking. And so I had my umbrella in one hand and I had my weight in the other hand. And so we want to develop some good habits. That's what lifestyle is all about. But there are some lifestyle practices or even habits which destroy our bodies. And one of those is tobacco. It's a major killer. And as you're looking at this graphic, I was actually in an airport when I took this graphic, and I was absolutely stunned as I actually saw in the airport all the signs that were on the boxes of tobacco, where it said, smoking kills, smokers die younger, and smoking harms you and those around you. Smoking kills. It's just amazing what was on the tobacco package itself. So tobacco is a major killer. And I hope that many of you don't have that habit. But if you do, God can help you. And if you have friends or relatives or others that have it in India, because I do know that there's about 130, I looked it up, and there's about 132 million people in India that have the smoking habit. And people are dying from that all the time. And according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, smoking definitely causes cancer, heart disease, stroke, lung diseases, diabetes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which includes emphysema and chronic bronchitis. So we do know that this habit actually causes many of these chronic diseases, these horrible diseases of heart disease, cancer, lung diseases. And so we want to, of course, give up that habit. Smokers have about a 25% higher risk of heart attack than non-smokers. Now, if some of you are non-smokers, and I know many of you are, then these principles can probably help some of your friends or others, because I do know that secondhand smoke is very high in India as well. And so smoking is the single biggest cause of cancer in the world. And there's no question about that. Scientifically, it has been proven. And tobacco smoke contains approximately 70 different cancer-causing substances. And every cigarette a person smokes takes actually 14.5 minutes off their life. I don't want to take any minutes off my life, and I know you don't either. And so we want to add years to our life, not subtract them, correct? And so cigarette smoking is a bad, bad habit. And every 8 seconds, someone dies from tobacco use. And secondhand smoke is very bad as well. And so we need to make sure that we're not in an environment of secondhand smoke as much as possible. But my friends, it is amazing because according to the World Health Organization, about a third of the male adult global population smokes. And I learned, and I need to get more statistics, but I learned that close to 70% of the males in India smoke. So that's a very high percent. Now we need to get probably some more statistics on that, but I do know there is a smoking habit that is prevalent in India. And worldwide, tobacco use causes nearly 6 million deaths per year. And current trends show that tobacco use will cause more than 8 million deaths by the year 2030. So we need to be very aware of the fact that, and now in some places, in many places, tobacco use is going down because of the fact that they're being educated in these areas and people want to quit. And I know that my husband and I, in our 53 years of ministry, have held many, many stop smoking plans. In fact, early in our ministry, we would have 200, 300, 400 people coming out in America here to learn how to quit smoking. And so we've helped literally thousands of people. And when we have even meetings today, we have meetings on how to quit smoking. And so, but each day, more than 3,200 people that are younger than even 18 years old are smoking. And I know in some countries, the tobacco companies are actually giving young children free cigarettes, because then they know that it is not only just a habit, but it is an addictive habit. And so we don't want to be addicted to anything. We don't want this little weed to control us. We want to control it. And so it's so sad when we see little children actually smoking. And smoking, but yet smoking is the leading cause of preventable death. So we could prevent this if we just go on to some kind of a stop smoking plan. And so what we need to do is help people break that habit. And we can make a clean break. And guess what? There's good news. When a person does quit smoking, their lungs actually can improve. We can breathe better. And I know that we've had scores of people that have come to our stop smoking plans, and people have actually told us that that their lungs have improved. And the risk of cancer decreases as well, of course, and the risk of heart disease decreases, and the risk of premature death decreases. But guess what, my friends? Your energy and endurance actually improves, and your whole health improves. And even amazingly enough, your food tastes better. So everything even tastes better. And so quitters always win. And by the grace of God, you, your friends, or anyone that's watching this program can help someone else to win as a smoker as well. So we want to try to break that habit, that addictive habit. But someone says, what about alcohol? Well, alcohol is deceptive and it is also addictive. But the problem is that it destroys brain cells, and it dramatically affects our ability to reason. And studies are showing more and more information on this, and actually is showing that the brain cells that you destroy from alcohol are not built back. And so we need now someone says, but we've got billions, a few billion brain cells, but we can't afford to lose any of those brain cells. I need every one that I have, I can tell you that, and I know you do too. And alcohol, because alcohol destroys the brain, particularly that frontal lobe. And in the frontal lobe is where we have conscience, reason, and judgment. And so when that is destroyed, we don't have good judgment, we don't have good reason, and so we want to not destroy anything in that frontal lobe there. And then, of course, alcohol also damages the liver, making it very, very less efficient, and we need a good, healthy liver to function properly and healthfully. Because oftentimes, and you can see in this first one, this is a healthy liver, healthy rosy red, but you can see what alcohol does. This is cirrhosis of the liver. And if you can see that graphic plainly there, it is really distorted with all this black. And this is what happens when you have cirrhosis of the liver, which is caused by alcohol. And alcohol weakens the immune system. And so we need to be sure that we don't weaken that immune system, because we need a strong immune system in order to be healthy. And so avoid alcohol of all kinds, any kind, and stimulants. Well, but someone says, what about red wine? And this is a subject that's coming up even among Christians today. What about red wine? Some sources are claiming that red wine is a health drink, but science says, wait a minute, it's not that easy. It may be a bit confusing, but just hold off, because they say, well, it may be linked to heart health. Then there are some heart health benefits. But now new studies are also showing that really the heart health benefits are contained in the grapes. In fact, I had some good red grapes for breakfast this morning, and I got all those heart healthy benefits from those grapes. It's not the alcohol, it is in the grapes. And more studies are showing that, because grapes or grape juice helps to maintain heart health. It even helps with digestive and bowel disorders, and it boosts the immunity. So we're going to have a greater immunity just with some pure grapes, or even just occasionally some grape juice. But I had just the pure grapes, red grapes, for breakfast this morning. And grapes can actually help delay the aging signs, and it can lower the risk of cancer, and it can even help to maintain bone health, because it contains the copper and manganese. And so there are so many minerals and vitamins and minerals in the pure grapes that this is why we don't have room for all the junk foods, because we need some of these good antioxidant, high antioxidant foods. And it also will boost our energy level. And studies have been done in many university medical schools and others. Loma Linda has done some, Harvard, Mayo Clinic, but I have this one where studies have found that even moderate use of alcohol, because someone says, well, just a little bit, is that okay? Well, even a little bit of that consumption raises the risk of breast cancer. And a meta-analysis combined the results of 98 studies, and they found that women who drank alcohol were 11% more likely than non-alcohol drinkers to get cancer. And so we want to avoid these killer diseases. That's what I'm sharing with you, how you can not only reduce your risk of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, but also these killer diseases, because they are killing literally millions every single year. And so you can reduce that by just getting rid of alcohol, even red wine. Alcohol also has been linked to to colon cancer, mouth cancer, throat, and esophagus cancer. So all these show that it's better to break the habit of any alcohol use. And Harvard University Medical School stated this in a special report. I have one, just like I showed you yesterday, I have one on some of these subjects as well. I will bring some of them tomorrow because we'll be studying nutrition. But they say it's not worth taking up wine at all or any type of alcohol to gain any supposed benefits, health benefits. And if you're at high risk of cancer or alcoholism, you want to avoid it completely. But we say just avoid it. In fact, the Lancet out of Britain says there is, and you can find this on almost any study where you look up the Lancet and alcohol, says there is no safe level of alcohol. That includes, of course, wine as well. Now, some of you may or may not be familiar with John Harvey Kellogg. He was without question one of the most famous physicians in the United States. In the 1800s, the early 1900s, Dr. Kellogg was the one that invented Kellogg cereal, and his brother actually was the one who marketed it. But Dr. Kellogg actually, John Harvey Kellogg, actually invented the cereal, and he also did many other things, but he was a physician, he was a surgeon, he was a nutritionist, and he was an inventor. He invented many things, and he was a health activist, and he started actually a sanitarium called Battle Creek Sanitarium, where people were coming from literally all over the world to get help in these natural treatments. And Dr. Kellogg was not only concerned about what people were eating, but Dr. Kellogg was actually concerned also about what people were drinking. And he wrote this: alcohol not only makes people unhealthy and shortens their lives, but it is the cause of much poverty and crime and untold amount of misery. And so he says, it's going to shorten your life. It's not worth it. And as the Lancet says, there's no safe level of alcohol. But let's study this morning, my friends, and talk a little bit about another habit, another drug that people all over the world are using every day and maybe have never thought of some of the detrimental effects, and that is caffeine. Caffeine used in coffee, in tea, in soft drinks, and even energy drinks. People all over the world are not thinking much about consuming large amounts of caffeine. And cola drinks are also harmful to our health. But cola drinks actually has a twin, and that is coffee. And medical researchers have discovered a significant number of health risks with the use of coffee. So there are health risks, and caffeine even may increase heart rate, cause irregular beats, and raise cholesterol. So that's going to increase the risk of heart disease and even death due to cardiovascular disease. And so caffeine is a habit that we want to try to break as well. Caffeine depletes the body's supply of all the vitamins and minerals, even including calcium and iron and B vitamins. And we need those B vitamins, particularly, actually are great for having a good attitude, and they're nerve vitamins, you know, and so we need those B vitamins, but also we need the calcium and iron to build good bones. And so especially if you are smaller and you tend to have a small frame, then the risk of osteoporosis is much greater, and therefore we need to make sure that we don't deplete any of that calcium or iron that we are getting, and that's what caffeine does. But most seriously of all is that caffeine is very addictive. That's why you see people lined up. Now, I don't know if you have Starbucks in India, but I've been around the world and I've seen signs for these coffee places. And why are people lined up, long lines? I can go to my grocery store early in the morning here, called Giant, right next to our school and our church. And I can, if I get down there early in the morning, sometimes I've walked down there to pick up some fruit or something for our breakfast when I'm out walking. And it is amazing to me. At 7:30 in the morning, literally, there will be a long line standing in front of the Starbucks section to get coffee. Why? Because it's addictive. They can't live without it. And this is why God can help us to break that habit if we have that habit. So what are some of the problems with some excessive amounts of caffeine? Well, let's just look at 1 cup of coffee a day. And these are scientific studies that have been done. You can find them in various books even. I've taken them out of some of the books that I have been reading. It increases the risk of stomach, kidney, lung, rectal, and esophageal cancer, and also doubles the risk of bladder cancer in women. And so just 1 cup of coffee a day. But now here's 2 cups of coffee a day. It increases colon cancer risk. And colon cancer is often fatal. Colon cancer is just a very difficult cancer. There have been some breast cancer survivors, and I'm sure there are some colon cancer survivors as well, but much, much more difficult than to be a survivor of breast cancer. So it increases the risk of colon cancer. It increases the risk of ovarian and pancreatic cancer. So just 2 cups of coffee and 5 cups of coffee a day increases the risk of heart disease significantly. And so I tell you, that is a habit that we want to get rid of. And here is a study from the Mayo Clinic on just 4 cups of coffee that was linked to early death. Now we're not even talking about some of the diseases, we're talking about death. And the Mayo Clinic study found that men, when they drank more than 4 8-ounce cups of coffee, had a 21% increase in all cause of mortality. So this is in many areas of death. And so we want to try to break that habit if some of you have that habit. And I know, unfortunately, even in many churches today, Christian churches even, they're serving coffee. And people have no idea that this is actually linked to early death and it's linked to the chronic diseases. And Ellen White, who was a 19th century health educator, said this. She has written many, many books. This one is in a book called Counsels on Diets and Foods. The only safe course is to touch not, to taste not, handle not, tea or coffee, wines, tobacco, opium, and alcoholic drinks. So even as early as the 19th century, we're living in the 21st century, but health educators back then were saying, look, the only safe course is to break these habits. And so we want to abstain from drugs, harmful drugs, and alcohol, tobacco, and even caffeine. But someone says, wait a minute, what about soft drinks and beverages? Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Does it really matter what beverage I drink? Don't they all contain water? And I'll be getting my water. What about soft drinks? Well, the body uses water in all forms, but some beverages can pose very, very big problems. And soft drinks is one of them. But look, the consumption of soft drinks grows around the world. a staggering 90% of the world's population consumes caffeinated soft drinks. And I know this is the case in India too, because when we were in Chennai, I was doing some health talks in Chennai, and I love coming to Chennai. I love India and all my Indian friends. It was just a wonderful experience. We've been several times to Chennai, and I know, because I was doing some health talks there, that people are drinking soft drinks, and actually they're very readily available there. And yet 90% of the world's population, only very few are not consuming caffeinated soft drinks. 9 of 10 people all over the world, that means 9 out of 10 people are consuming and drinking these caffeinated soft drinks, even little children. I saw on an airplane a mother actually giving Coca-Cola to the baby out of the baby bottle. That also destroys and weakens the teeth. There are many, many problems with that. But that is so sad, my friends, because they get addicted to this, and that's the drink that they want rather than the good pure water. So let's look at the real truth about some of these soft drinks. There are many, many health risks when we're consuming all the soft drinks. Soft drinks are detrimental to our health. They really are. In fact, in my cooking schools and my health talks here in America, I tell people, you know, it probably would be to your benefit, to your health, and a good idea to try to get rid of those soft drinks right away. And so Harvard School of Public Health, and Harvard is one of the most prestigious universities and medical schools in America. It was the very first university, started in the 1600s actually, and it is a very prestigious university and medical school. And they reported a study of 40,000 men for 2 decades, and they found that those who averaged these sugary beverages per day had 20% higher risk of a heart attack. So why are so many people dying even of heart disease? Because we have some of these habits. We have some of these things that we've developed in our life that are destroying our bodies. And soft drinks contain large, large amounts of sugar. A 20-ounce bottle like this that you see on the screen may contain up to 36 of these sugar cubes. It's just amazing how much sugar and chemicals are in the soda and the soft drinks. Even just one glass contains as much as 8 teaspoons of sugar. And what about sugar? Well, we know that sugar weakens the immune system. So it just cuts down on those white blood cells that actually fight disease. And so we don't want to have an increase of sugar through soft drinks. And so sugar reduces the ability to fight those diseases. And soft drinks breaks down the system and actually predisposes our entire body to disease. And so that's why we don't want to have the habit of all these soft drinks. And soft drinks, my friends, I've been studying nutrition now for over 50 years, and it contains literally no nutrition. Soft drinks are full of empty calories. You get the calories. And when I took this picture that you see here, if you could see the amount of sugar in just one of these containers, it is absolutely amazing. But soft drinks contain plenty of empty calories. There's no vitamins, no minerals, and they're high in empty calories. Now that we don't want the empty calories, because it's the empty calories that cause us to gain the weight, but we don't get the nutritional value. And so no vitamins, no minerals, but it is high in sugar. So the vitamins and the minerals are down, but the calories are up. So that's a good reason to try to break the habit of soft drinks because we get unbalanced nutrition. And I see here in my country, literally, even young children, they will go to a restaurant and they will take even not just 1 cup of a soft drink, but 2 and maybe even more. It is amazing how many soft drinks are being consumed. It is out of control in my country, and I don't know about everything there, that's for sure, but I know that I saw people drinking a lot of this when I was there in Chennai. So someone says, Mrs. Finley, what should I drink? Well, good old water, pure water is the very best beverage that's designed for our health. And occasionally, maybe even some of that grape juice, pure grape juice, or pure orange juice, or pure grapefruit juice. Occasionally, we don't want to overdo that either, but occasionally that's good as well. And then herbal teas. Herbal teas are health promoting drinks. Herbal teas are good for us. Herbs are good for us. From ancient days to modern times, even mint tea has been enjoyed as a wonderful beverage. And peppermint tea actually helps in digestion and calms stomach disorders. So get some of those good herbal teas in place of coffee and soft drinks. And valerian herbal tea actually helps improve our sleeplessness. If you're not sleeping well at night, you may want to try some valerian herbal tea, and it even helps with the stress level. And echinacea herbal tea actually helps to even treat with flus and common infections. And so that echinacea herb is so good as well. And so I wanted to just say this, that there are so many places in the world where you can get herbal teas, where you can get even a substitute for coffee, and drink good water for a substitute for your soft drinks. But regarded for thousands of years in the East as a key to good health, has caught the attention of researchers in the West who are discovering that there are many, many, many health benefits of different types of herbal teas. And so, and you know, it's interesting because Dr. Kellogg, as I mentioned, was an inventor. And he actually invented Postum. Now, it was Mr. Post who came to Battle Creek Sanitarium that actually was a patient there under Dr. Kellogg, and he took Dr. Kellogg's invention and put it into market. So Dr. Kellogg was not so interested in marketing things as he was in inventing things. And so Postum was invented, and that's a powdered roasted grain beverage, a grain beverage or made from grains. And it's popular as a caffeine-free coffee substitute. And there are many other things too. Here I have with me today some Roma, which is a caffeine-free drink made from cereal beverage as well. And there's many others, and you may have some there in India, I'm not sure, but with everything that we can get online today, almost everything is available almost anywhere in the world. But these are much, much better for us than the caffeinated drinks that are so prevalent. So here's a teeny tip for you today. Try exchanging caffeinated teas for herbal teas. They are healthful and they are very refreshing, my friends. And God promises us that if we follow these laws of health, if we break some of these habits, He promises that we can have abundant health. But then I just want to talk to you in the next few minutes about what about our food? We're going to talk in length about this tomorrow. But does God give us any instruction on what we should eat? Well, The Eden diet was a vegetarian diet. We'll study that more tomorrow. It was only after the flood that God gave human beings permission to even eat meat. And after the flood, almost everything, the lifespan of the human beings was so shortened. So after the flood, people lived much shorter. If you look at Adam here, Adam lived to 930 years. Now, Methuselah was the longest living person in the world, and he was 969 when he died. And Noah was 950. And Nahor, 7 generations down, just 7 generations down, he was 140. And now today, it is amazing. We live half of that. Many people don't even live until 70 today. And so the lifespan was shortened. But God instructed Noah to bring both the clean and the unclean animals into the ark. In Genesis 7, it says this: you shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female. So you have the clean animals and you have the unclean. And in Deuteronomy, it says this: and you may eat every animal with cloven hoofs and having the hoofs split. So if they have the cloven hoofs, and they're split into 2 parts, and it chews the cud, then among the animals, then that is clean, like the cow, like the sheep, like the deer. They have cloven hoofs and they chew the cud. But then he says also in Deuteronomy, nevertheless, of those that chew the cud or have cloven hoofs, you shall not eat. In other words, if you only have one of those and you don't have both of them, then you shall not eat. That's like the camel. So the camel isn't any good for us. So I hope you're not eating any camel sandwiches, my friends. And the hare, that's the rabbit, and the rock hyrax, for they chew the cud, but they don't have the cloven hoofs. They are unclean for you. And then also in Deuteronomy 14:6-8, it says also the swine. What is that? That's pig. That's unclean because it has cloven hoofs, but yet it does not chew the cud. And you shall not eat their flesh or touch their dead carcasses. So pork, my friends, is the highest fat content of all the meats. So we want to try to break that habit of any type of unclean foods that the Bible talks about, because your health actually depends on what you eat. Now then someone says, what about the fish? Well, in Deuteronomy 14:9, it also says, these you may eat of all that are in the waters. You may eat all that have fins and scales. So if it has fins and scales, God says, okay, you can eat that. In Deuteronomy 14:10, it says, and whatever does not have fins and scales, you shall not eat. It's unclean to you. That's like the lobsters and the crabs and all these unclean foods. So instead of eating all of these unclean foods, let's transition to some healthy, nutritious protein foods. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow so that we can give you some ideas and so forth. But you know, there's a statement in a wonderful book that I love to read, and Counsels on Diets and Foods, also a book called Ministry of Healing, that says, and this was a health educator, and it says, grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. These foods, prepared in as simple and natural a manner as possible, are the most healthful and nourishing. So we want to get the most healthful foods, and I want to help you and teach you to have the most healthful foods so that you can live longer, healthier, and happier. And then it says, this is exciting, my friends, they impart a strength. So with these foods, these natural foods that God gave us in the beginning, they're going to impart a strength. You're going to be stronger, and a power of endurance, and a vigor of intellect even. You're going to be smarter, that are not afforded by a more complex and stimulating diet. And so that's what we want to do, is exchange some of these things that are maybe habits, but we want a lifestyle that will actually keep us healthy. And so, but then someone says, how can I live in harmony with God's laws of health when sometimes I feel powerless to make these changes? They're habits, and some of them are addictive habits. Well, Philippians 4:13 says, and everybody read it together there, wherever you are, whether you're in your home or whatever, let's read it together. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you can do it, my friends. You can do all things, and you can help others to do all things through Christ as well. So to overcome any habit, follow these simple 4 steps. And these are my teeny tips again for you today. Choose to give up all things that are unhealthful habits. Develop good habits. And then ask God to empower your choice. And discard any of the objects of temptation. If it's alcohol, if it's unclean foods, if it's tobacco, whatever it is, choose to just get rid of it. Get it out of your house and don't even go around it. And then replace the health-destroying habits with a health-building habit. And my friends, once we do this, we will truly be following God's health assurance plan, because this is God's assurance plan to us that we can stay healthy and not be sick, and we can live a longer life as well. So may God bless you as you choose to break the bad habits and keep on developing and doing the good habits. So may God bless you. And now we will have some time for questions. So I will take it off the share screen, and you wanna, let's see, should we do this? Yes, okay. And now, Ruth, thank you so much for organizing all of this and organizing the questions. And so if we have some questions, I know this was a little more detailed and maybe new for some, but I can tell you that when people come to our classes and they learn these principles, they tell us how they are so much healthier by following them.